Hello, I'm Elgato and welcome back to the video. So one of the things you've no doubt seen on the channel by now is one of my 1 week realm experiments. This is where I opened up a Minecraft server to anyone on Bedrock to join. They could do whatever they want. It was always recommended that you build something, you add to the community, but because there was no rules, I always knew that eventually some amount of griefing would occur. Someone would grief something, but the truth was, every one of those videos ended up with the same conclusion that like, wow, people grief a whole lot more than you'd ever expect. People go through so much effort just to destroy what other people make, and this made me curious. Like, okay, if people are willing to go through so much effort just to ignore your rules, what if you make the rules all about griefing? What happens if you literally open up a realm and say, do whatever you like? And this isn't going to be a realm experiment thing, this is just a matter of like human psychology really. What happens if you tell people to break your Minecraft world? I mean, one of the big goals I've always had in Minecraft is to destroy an entire old style Minecraft world all the way down to Bedrock. If I ask people to grief, will they do that for me? Because if you just keep destroying things, eventually you will reach that. So maybe we can get something productive done. Let's find out with today's video. The name literally just says, please grief, and I'm hoping people see that as an invitation. You can join, you can do what you want. I'm going to keep the game in survival. I'm going to allow people to play exactly the same way, but instead of saying, oh yeah, do whatever you like, and it's implied that you shouldn't grief, what if we say that people should grief? So we're a day in, and honestly, I think things are going quite well. You might say, no, Toy Cat, there's huge cobblestone piles and there's lava which seems to be hurtling towards you as we speak. But I mean, besides the obvious griefs, I think things are going quite well. There are so many ways people have ruined the world in so many, horrific ways that just seeing some cobblestone, after you tell people to grief, this is almost like people obeying in the good way, in the best possible way, It's like if you say, please kill me, and someone shoots you, it's like, oh, that was nice of them. They could have tortured me to death, but instead, they're doing it in the nice way. So, I guess, if you ask people to grief, at least for the first day or so, they'll grief nicely. Day 3, and I'll be honest, things aren't going very well. It seems as though my face is covered in sand, which isn't usually a good start to a world, although I'm not suffocating to death, so there's that. But yeah, it seems as though I'm actually trapped inside the sand block. Maybe that's what they've done to the whole server. Everything's just inside a sand block now. Because you can see I'm moving around, but the sand is still on top of me. So, I mean, interestingly enough, over the last day, it seems as though the server has improved. Again, more explosions, but less giant towers in general, which is good. And more paintings, because someone is trying to make this a bit of an art gallery. But yeah, in general, things have actually gotten better over the last 24 hours or so, I'd say, which is not what you expect when you ask people to grief. Maybe some people are like, you know, I'll show you who's boss. I'll make this world look functional. I'll give it beacons and stuff like that. Again, I don't know for sure what's going on here, but it looks like things are going okay. And I really want to clarify here that when I say okay, I mean like okay compared to the results you would expect in a world like this. So since the underground seems to be pretty well protected, I'm going to chill down here and see what happens in this nice little cubby hole / cave and see if I remain safe. Okay, so we're 5 days in, and it looks a little wild. And, yeah, like I said, I mean, things are going pretty traditional in terms of griefing levels, though. Apparently there's a command block somewhere. I can't see it. I'm just kind of trapped in a big gap down here, it seems. Oh, that must be the command block. Oh, so someone set up a command block, which is changing the daylight cycle really, really rapidly. You've got to hand it to people. Like, last time, they literally tried to break the world. This time, they're just trying to make it unpleasant, I guess. Because if you break it, then they can't, someone can't get on. Whatever, that's one way to grief a realm. This is the most unique way I've ever seen a realm broken. Also, everything's been destroyed, like you can see. It's like, like 3 weeks have passed and everything's been destroyed slowly. Now the Earth is spinning 4,000 times faster. But now someone's at least disabling, someone's at least rebuilding over here with the Kingdom of Kalmar, it seems. Apparently there's an underground city, so I need to go and see that. I turned off the command block thing just for now. Oh, you can see, people have literally started rebuilding below the ground, because above the surface is just so desolate and hard to look at, that people just figured, down here is clearly the only way. There's just a lava sea over there. The ways people are griefing when you tell them to, it seems like it's more creative. It seems like you get the best types of griefers, the fun griefers, rather than just the people who are like, wouldn't it be fun if no one could join? I will say, it's not the 100% level of griefing I was expecting this server to reach at some point, so I'm going to keep on hitting the snooze timer on this and seeing how things go if we leave it another day or two. Okay, so it's a full weekend now, and you can see how pretty much everything is destroyed now. Anything worth destroying is entirely gone, besides maybe that little remnant of the building. And also, there's a lot of diamond blocks everywhere. I think people have even given up on giving them value, and now they start using them as just nice little measuring posts. And also, interestingly enough, a lot of people live below the surface, where there was also a lot of lava that's turned into water. So, yeah, there's a bit of a weird mess of a thing going on here. Like, a huge nuclear explosion went off, so people started living below the surface, but then a nuke went off below ground, so people started going above the surface again, and it's looking around the place. There's a bunch of really, weird things going on. I'd say the weirdest one to me is the amount of, like, grass people are placing over here, like, trying to recolonize the world while also being griefed again. It seems like we might just be in an endless cycle. I figured that as time went on, like, griefing would get worse and worse and worse, but I think there's only so much that people are willing to destroy, and once you cover things in lava, and then people cover that lava in water and it makes obsidian, I think it gets harder to accurately grief the world, because, again, you can blow up this structure really easily, and I'm sure it will be blown up very soon. Oh, there's a house in there, by the way, but I'm sure this will be blown up very soon. But then, and getting below the ground and destroying that, even in creative mode, it takes a long time, and I guess without commands and stuff, which some people do apparently manage to give themselves, it's pretty hard to do. So, I don't know, mildly fun fact for you all right there. We've also got a diamond house over here that says Sour's house. So we're about a week and a half into the new kind of Anarchy Realm experiment. I haven't checked it out in the last few days, and I'm curious as to what's been done in that time. Like, does 4 days worth of work mean a significant amount? Okay, it means a lag machine. That's what it is. It's you leave it alone for 3 days, and suddenly lag machine is made, and it's unusable. Which, I mean, I guess that is hopefully going to be fixed at some point, or maybe the rest of this video is just lag machine, can't get on the realm. It sucks. I guess we'll find out. Okay, we're now 2 weeks in, and it looks as though some rebuilding has happened. Some people are like, you know what, we need some more Minecraft houses, and although this one's been mostly destroyed, there is still some semblance of a house here, so, you know, there is some I guess, anti-successes if we want it to be grief, but also just some people trying to build, no matter what the instructions, you tell them to grief, they're going to make some nice houses, and that's a nice thing about people. But the weird thing that's happened in the last little bit of time, besides this weird draining effort over here, is the fact that we have pretty much reached bedrock everywhere. Like, there has been destruction going all the way down, we've got very little actual terrain left, but here's the thing that's even crazier than that. Rather, even than the fact that literally the world has been destroyed almost all the way down to bedrock, and then covered in lava, covered in water, covered in sponges, but even crazier than that, in my opinion, is the fact that people have worked out a way to change the size of the world. This is an old size Minecraft world. It's 256 by 256 blocks, normally at least, but if you look at my coordinates, it's 330 blocks over here, and it goes, out to like -90 on one side and less on the other. This is because people have worked out, but by using a lot of lag, like by using this like day-night cycle thing that looks really cool but is super strange, by creating a bunch of lag and then also having people join, having things happen outside the world, you can shift the boundary of what the world is considered to be. Minecraft Realms is not really designed to cope with old style worlds, so it seems as though there is a serious glitch happening where the size of the world is literally shifting. It's not a square anymore, it's a weirdly shaped rectangle where it's longer on this lengthwise than it is widthwise, and that is insane to think about. I don't know how someone worked that out, let alone how someone decides to do in this realm, but it means we do now have a world which, again, looking at the coordinates, you can see it's longer than it is wide, and I don't understand how anyone works that out, let alone why people do that, but it has been happening. The world is literally changing sizes, and that is an impressive level of griefing, I do have to say. That's not even something I'd work out. Like, people have worked out a new way to, a new glitch of realms, a new glitch of old-sized worlds, just to, increase the level of griefs and to get people to spawn outside the world, and that is insane in my opinion. So I think this is the most amount of damage I've seen done to the realms so far. You can see the entire old-sized world, pretty much as far as the eye can see, is either down to bedrock, or in some cases it seems past bedrock, all over the world. There's some remaining chunks in the sky of stone, but they're few and far between, it seems at least. You can get across the entire world at bedrock if you really want to now, which is kind of interesting on its own layer, but also kind of awful on another one. There's big lava streams everywhere, because I mean there's always big lava streams. The daytime is going day night, and I have to wonder, like, is this peak like destruction, or is there a level where we do just get purely nothing eventually, like we might have theorized at the start? I'm not too sure. Yeah, that's one of the interesting things that we might see happen in the future. Again, you can really see that right now there's just a few remaining columns of what used to be a world, what used to be some terrain, and mostly it's just empty space, bedrock, or in some cases, people managed to destroy the bedrock, which I think is a pretty wild thing. The only part of the land that seems to have survived anything is this layer of dirt up here. Again, I think this is original dirt, but it might not be because we're at like Y70. You can see how there's some semblance of a thing here, leading to the old fort, which has mostly survived by a twig at his yes sign. Then over here, we've got another kind of lair that's vaguely survived from the beginning, with dragon eggs on it, because of course there's dragon eggs. Man, things are just pretty grim right now, as far as actually looking like a world is concerned. But I guess that's the realm. Let's see how this can get even worse somehow over the next couple of weeks. So it took 17 days, but I think wood has officially gone extinct on the server. And by that I don't mean there's no wood products. That'd be ridiculous to say while looking at fences and trapdoors and stuff. But I don't believe there's any saplings or any wood left, at least not that's, you know, publicly planted. One of the consequences of there being pretty much no surface and everyone living on bedrock is that there's very few places for trees to grow. And once people destroy all the trees, then they're all going to be gone forever. And that means that you can find every now and then some planks, but usually you find wood products like, oh yeah, it's stairs, it's fences, it's signs, which is kind of a crazy thing. Also, look, Acacia Town population 0. So yeah, long story short, the realm has run out of wood, and it looks a bit like a post-apocalyptic society. So someone has taken the spawn area and they've blocked it up with diamonds. I don't know how you do that to like make one specific spawn area and make people spawn inside diamond blocks, but it is a pretty interesting thing to see. So yeah, it's pretty interesting because even though the realm is an absolute trash heap, I don't know if there's any better phrase for it than that, but even though it's a little bit of a mess right now, we haven't reached the peak destruction that I anticipated. I figured it would happen honestly, mildly quickly maybe, but it seems as though there are some parts of the world that are just holding on, maybe because they're not worth destroying. Like, why would you destroy those stone blocks? Like, there's not really any way to get there, and without wood, there's no way to even craft tools anymore, I don't think, besides just duplicating them or killing hackers or whatever. But basically, you can see how, like, there's a few parts of the world that are just hanging on. There are even some parts of the world, like this, you know, land area by spawn, that I assume destroyed beacon, and this is the area next to it, where there is something going on, and someone's either running around killing all the animals, or there's someone doing command blocks of that. I don't know for sure, but it's interesting that there is a little bit of civilization that has remained, and it keeps on managing to be rebuilt. Even though as these huge messes are built nearby, you know, people making lava next to water, making the fun staircases that people like to do, even as that is happening, you're still seeing right next door to it, like, oh yeah, there's a nice little development over there, someone's trying to make a house happen. They've got their own flag, they've got their own little community, they're making out iron blocks for some reason. Again, I don't know why entirely iron blocks, like, I guess because they want to do redstone activities. Maybe they're going to get that achievement for, you know, pushing a thing. Oh no, that's the duplication method that people use currently. You push a chest between two pistons and it makes some stuff happen. So I guess they're making a safe duplication space for themselves. I mean, again, it's I did ask people to grief, and if I guess duplicating is the best way to do that. Oh, and some trees have come back to life. So I'd heard trees had gone extinct, and that had matched my experience earlier, but it seems as though either from nowhere, or maybe someone had them in a chest, there are a few trees around here, and that's pretty interesting. I kind of want to take a sapling so that it'll always be here. Also, someone's built a nice border at the edge of the world. You can currently actually hop right over that, but it just breaks everything, makes it all go missing. So almost every day I log onto the realm, and I think that I've seen everything that you can see. Some grief is due to something, but then you see something like this, and you're like, oh no, I guess I haven't seen everything. This appears to be, by the way, a bunch of beacons, I think, that they've somehow managed to have the light refract from. Is that commands? Is that whatever? I don't know for sure, but it looks insane. Like, what is happening there in the slightest? I have no clue. So yeah, things have managed to, honestly, someone's made a new town. Things have gone pretty wild, and I have no idea exactly how this even happens, but yeah, I guess people are playing around with newer and more exciting ways to make realms break, it seems, which, you know, I guess is mildly positive, potentially. It's not positive, but it's interesting, and yeah, it's hard not to look at them when you can see it. Like, it looks like lightning is striking there, but it's beacons spinning around at a crazy speed. Anyway, so let's look at the rest of the world. Because now even more of the world has just been kind of abandoned to, like, entire wastes. There are people slowly bridging across it every now and then to get back up and to get from place to place. But you can see for the most part, more and more of the world is just becoming this big void of a mess that's just covered in cobble. There's only this little portion over here, this, like, maybe, you know, a fifth of the map all the way in the corner here, that has some grass on the top and then sometimes blocks below that. But usually not even stuff like this. In this case, you can see it's literally dirt above nothing that people are rebuilding from scratch. So yeah, people are just, like, kind of starting starting a house, starting a land wherever they can, and it's almost inspiring, I want to say. I'm not even entirely sure, like, why you would play survival here, but some people are legitimately still doing that, so I guess kudos to them. And also, there's end portals hidden all over the place that get you trapped in the end, I've heard. So, I mean, yeah, pretty weird world so far. So I might be wrong here, but it seems as though the last of the grass, the stuff I was praising for being so expansive last time, has been a little bit destroyed by some amount of TNT explosions, and then also covering those TNT explosions in dragon eggs. I don't know why someone decided to do that, or if there's even a reason for it, if they're just like, you know what, I think some dragon eggs would spruce up this area. However, something really interesting I really didn't expect, like seriously did not expect in the slightest, is we didn't just get more and more destroyed as time went on. The surface has been abandoned. We are now mole people. We live below the surface, which is kind of a bad thing, but it does mean that there's now like a whole civilization. People are just rebuilding the realm from scratch down here, which is actually a really interesting thing to see. Like, you can see there's like a proper community forming, which is crazy, given the whole, you know, idea of the world was like, grief it, do whatever you want, and ideally grief. The world is literally called Please Grief. Despite that, people have still managed to get real things going here, and yeah, like there's this cute little beacon pathway. I know these are duplicate, by the way, we've seen it and stuff, but the fact that this is here existing, not covered in lava, not exploded yet at least, is a really cool testament to, like, you know, some people will just want to build and do good things anyway. They probably will always be outweighed, you know, there's only so long you can make your Minecraft builds last, but the fact that they can exist for any time at all on a server as wild as this one, you know, you're seeing the number of like crazy things happen as we're talking, is kind of cool in my opinion. I think that does mean something good. So I found this secret underground railway tunnel, and I have to be curious as to what someone is hiding under here. Oh, there's a whole extra base, presumably where they store their valuable goods. So we're just under 4 weeks into this now, and something really interesting has started to happen, and although at the start I was kind of thinking like, okay, how long till everything goes to Bedrock, but what if I was thinking about it the wrong way? What if, instead of everything reaching Bedrock, what if Bedrock reaches everything? So as you can see, things have gotten pretty wild recently. There's just Bedrock everywhere around here. Like, some of the Bedrock's covered in grass, some of it's covered in cobblestone, obsidian, etc. But most of the world has now turned into Bedrock. There are things below the Bedrock. They've made these little portals, as you can see. You can technically look below it still, and it's kind of interesting that way, but most of the world now exists in this below Bedrock state where there's just random houses being built amongst the rubble. It feels a bit like a nuclear bomb has hit and people are just trying to colonize the wreckage. It's super weird, but it is what it is, I guess. So the thing that confuses me a little more than that even is the fact that people have started their own little sky civilization. So there's a bunch of diamonds and beacons over there. There's a bunch of trees people have got going. You know, wood has come back to the realm in full force, it seems. But looking at the rest of this, you can see how, like, oh yeah, their society is beginning and ending here. There's giant obsidian cubes to protect them, but obviously that's not working. Someone got their hands on some bedrock and figured, you know what, it's really epic that I have bedrock right now. I mean, like, of all the things you could do with bedrock, that's what you decide to do. So interestingly enough, at least to me, is the fact that even though, again, the realm is called Please Grief, and there's a lot of that has been going on, it, interestingly enough, seems to have wrapped right back around on itself. In the same way that every time we ask people to do whatever they want, or we gave a specific goal saying, please be nice, people are just awful, when you ask people to be awful, it seems as though some people try to do the opposite. Some people decide, you know, this is the perfect opportunity to build a nice village. Look how nice these houses are. They're making like real houses. Everyone's got their own one they're working on, all in the center. There's an FBI headquarters made of bedrock. You know, there's so many confusing things happening, but society has just rebuilt. It looks like a normal Minecraft world again. It's really interesting, actually, just to see all the weird things that have been built and how, even though there's just this layer of destruction that's building up, the entropy is building. Sprinkled in there, it seems, people are being good people. People are trying to do the best, and that is crazy to me, that even if you ask people to grieve, even if you ask people to be the worst they can to ruin the world, and you hope secretly they try to get down to bedrock, there are some people who are just like, hey, the way I play Minecraft is I am a builder. I am someone who plays constructively. I make nice things. I make these houses. I make signs saying Toycat yes, and, you know, beautiful platforms and all these different things, and that is cool in my opinion. And as fast as the faith in humanity was gained, it seems as though it's gone again. Some people saw the nice builds and were like, wow, these things sure are great. Wouldn't it be amazing if we just blew them up? And it seems as though that's happened. And then I've also got myself this Elytra with Unbreaking 32,767. Let's not even question that. Let's just have an apparently unbreakable Elytra, and let's fly around and let's look at the wreckage a little bit. So you can see, again, someone really, you know, likes destruction, I would assume, based on this. Although the bedrock, which is just below it, makes it now impossible to destroy, except by hand, so maybe that will help them go in that direction. But yeah, it seems as though we're going directly in the same direction as we were before. The destruction is going to continue, even though every now and then we're going to keep on going back into the positive direction. We'll get some nice builds made. It seems as though we're always going to be... People try to make a dev portal, but it doesn't work, of course, unless you're hacking, which I think a lot of people have been. But yeah, if you look around, you can see how, like, yep, the destruction is still on course. It's getting uglier and uglier because the more things that are there and then destroyed means the more things that leave a trace behind. Like, you can see there's a few builds of just, like, a few ugly blocks left behind. So yeah, instead of just having a big void like I was expecting, we have a big mess instead, which is a lot worse. It's not as clean as I figured, and I guess pro tip, if you want people to destroy your world and you want them to do it for free, then yeah, you could maybe give it a try this way, but clearing up the mess left behind, like all this obsidian, like there was a house here at some point at Bedrock for some reason. It's only been mostly destroyed. Okay, so it has been 31 days, which is roughly a month, and I feel like this is a good cutoff point for the experiment because I think it's starting to get a bit cyclical now. So what happens when you ask people basically to destroy your world? And the simple answer is they don't really. So I was expecting that we'd see some destruction happen and it would just keep going closer and closer to Bedrock, but what happened instead was, first of all, something I never would have predicted, is the world changed size. So an old style world, this is very easy to check if you don't believe me, is 256 by 256 blocks. If you count this right here, so the edge of the world just over here is 111 and 111. For some reason it's moved, and then the edge of the world on the other side you would expect would be 111 plus 256, so you would expect to see 368 if my on the spot maths is correct, but you can see instead what you get is 280 something. We've lost about 100 blocks off the world or so, and then the other direction we've lost a similar amount. The world has changed size and some of it has just gone missing. That's something I didn't expect. There's a weird old size glitch you can do in realms where you load and rapidly unload and cause lag, and it causes parts of the world go missing. I did not expect that. The second thing I didn't expect, besides the entire shape of the world changing and getting smaller every few days, is also the fact that, you know, even though I basically said, yeah, grief things, I figured grief meant destruction, and although everything you might have recognized from 30 days ago isn't here, everything has been destroyed. What happened is, in its place, new things got built, and then people just had fun building things and then destroying those new things. And some form of griefing, like this right here, is where, like, oh yeah, let's put cobblestone everywhere. I really figured it would be perfect to just have pure bedrock. This is how, you know, like when you look at Java servers that are pure anarchy, they just end up at bedrock because everyone destroys anything that exists. However, in this case, it didn't seem to happen. I think some people maybe just got bored of destroying. They figured, well, we're never going to make it to bedrock, and who even cares about these few chunks of cave anyway? So they just left it there. They didn't destroy the world, and yeah, this is a way bigger mess than if we just tried to destroy it ourselves. So it wasn't a convenient way to get the world destroyed, and in fact, I would say we ended up with just a huge mess. I asked people to destroy things, and instead, people made new things, then destroyed those things, then made new things, then destroyed those things, then made new things, and some things which are very tricky to destroy, which just stayed the entire time. So there's this obsidian area up here. Again, it's kind of nice, I think. Like, look at this. What is all of this? It's very clearly made by hacking because this block isn't available even in, you know, like creative. So it's like, okay, lots of hacking with bedrock, obsidian, etc. This managed to stay. A few bits of obsidian around the world were just too tricky to destroy, but anything real anyone made got destroyed, but only partially destroyed. So yeah, long story short, the world got destroyed, but not like all the way down to bedrock, not in a way that anyone would find useful. We asked people to destroy the world, and what they did instead is they built things, and I just don't understand it. You know, I think we've come to the conclusion, because this is the fourth. This was like a mini experiment, but like it wasn't a real experiment. It wasn't like an advertised thing. But yeah, basically from just leaving the realm open and having a thing, I've learned now we've got like a 3-to-1 track record. If you ask people to do something nicely, some people will do it. Most people might do it, but there's enough people not doing it that you'll end up with a mess anyway. Ask people to just have fun play survival, they'll destroy things. Ask people to destroy things, they'll make huge builds and a big mess of your world. You know, ask people to add to your creative world and be nice, they'll turn it into a big you know, mess, I think is the simplest way to describe it. I think this is a real, true, you know, example of the fact that you need communism in your Minecraft server if you're, I mean, communist dictatorship, if you need things to go well, because otherwise this happens, it's a mess, there's no real value to anything that was created here. Like, again, I mean, I was expecting either we'd get something good, which might be nice, or we'd get some, you know, like destruction, which would also be nice. But no, somehow we picked a third option, which is a cross between the two, which pleases no one. There's nothing nice made on this realm, as you can see. Oh, and also there's lots of hacking stuff. But, you know, there's nothing nice that's been made on this realm. You look around and you start to see like, oh, this at one point might have been a nice house. Not anymore, it's not. Try and find one thing in this whole video while I've been touring it that you'd be like, oh, that's a nice build. No, it's not possible. Anything anyone sees as nice, they decide, oh, clearly it's time to destroy that. We can't have nice things here. There was a really cool wall. I like this wall going around the world, and it exists here a little bit, but everywhere else, being destroyed. Someone decided, oh, that looks nice, let's destroy it. And I think that's, I think we started to understand what griefing kind of means to a lot of people just based on this. I actually like this Toy Cat beacon thing. Yeah, good. You know, that's nice. I mean, it's going to be destroyed in the next 12 hours, I'm sure. But I think what we've learned is that, you know, what people think when they grief is they don't just like the destruction aspect. That's what I assumed before I started doing these realms. I think when people grief, what they really like is they love the feeling of like, aha, I've made it look terrible. Like, it's not just destroying in the Minecraft aspect, it's destroying in the real life sense of like, you know, there is value here, I want to rid the world of that value, and I don't understand why. I don't understand exactly what the deal is of that, but it seems to be what's going on here. So, yeah, long story short, this was I can't even say it failed. I was expecting bad things to happen, I just figured they might be at least somewhat useful, but somehow, going in with no expectations, or at least very, very low expectations, somehow still disappoints you at least a little bit. So, with that said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, it's just such a mess on every level. Hope you all enjoyed this video. You can like it if you did like it, because it helps out the channel. Let us know you do like the realm thing. If you're curious about the realm, it's always running. I'm usually not recording. I just figured I would just to see what happened. You can find the link to the realm on either the Discord, or you can follow me on Twitter, where I'll announce when I'm doing another realm project. Because, yeah, even though a lot of people join them just because they want to ruin the videos, and you know, it's not a true experiment when people join just to join the realms. I'll let you know when there's a public experiment, which will be sometime in the next month or so. So make sure to follow me at IVXToyCat and or check out discord.gg/toycat. Thank you very much for watching this thing. Look how much Bedrock's been destroyed. Thank you very much for watching it, and I guess I'll see you all in another one. Wait, I need to just see what's above this. Oh, it's just a mess. Okay, should have seen that one coming. It's just a direct hole all the way from spawn down to below Bedrock. How nice. Okay, goodbye.